up, everybody? Yep, this is a Riffs, not a Flix. And in the background, you might hear a little something playing by Greta Van Fleet. And I'm going to pause it now. We want to just give you the intro. Alexa, pause.
So, hey, everybody, welcome to the episode of Riffs and Flix, and this is your host, Brandon.
And I'm Kevin, and this is episode 3 of season 2.
Yes.
I had to think about it. We're only 3 in, and I couldn't remember. So, we are going to talk about a little album that's out right now.
Yep, just came out here very recently.
And we're going to taste a bourbon as well.
That is true, we are.
So, where do we start?
Well, for those of you who may have listened to that, we're into season 2 and still don't know how to play music on here. Due to the great depths of research we've done, none, on how to do that. So what you heard back there was the newest album from Greta Von Fleet. Is it Van or Von?
I would say Greta Von Fleet, but
right.
They're from Michigan, so I think it's Greta Van Fleet.
Could be. But it's almost like, you remember the wrestlings, the Von Erichs? They were spelled V-O-N, which is Von Erich, and this is V-A-N, so maybe it is Van.
Maybe. Such a good documentary you just mentioned, too.
Well, we did that a few episodes ago.
God, it was good.
It is very good.
So, yeah, Greta Van Fleet, Von Fleet. I'm going to say Van Fleet.
So, they have a new album out, and it's called Battle at the Garden Gates.
Yep.
And Gardens Gate.
The Battle at Gardens Gate.
And it's very good. If you haven't listened to it yet, go ahead, download it, stop this, listen to it, and then come back.
Pause it. Yeah. So, I would say it's reminiscent. So this is, obviously the album just came out. So this is a modern rock band. But I swear, I think if you were playing like old, like 70s rock,
yep,
and you had like Led Zeppelin, let's just say, you had all these older bands playing, and you mixed in one of these songs, I don't think anybody would know the difference.
No, not necessarily. And, these guys are young. They're from Detroit. And when they first came out with their first album, because I think this is their 3rd studio album now.
I think so.
They play all their own instruments. I'm pretty sure they write their own stuff. Don't hold me to that. But at any rate, so they kind of were getting kicked around a little bit because they sounded so much like Led Zeppelin.
Like old music, yeah.
Yeah, but which, by the way, I think is great.
Yeah.
You're going back to a time and an influence of that has changed rock and roll for the course of history from that point forward. And to be honest with you, I was thinking, what do these people want? They play their own music. They're young. They're talented. They've been on, I think, the Tonight Show, maybe even Saturday Night Live, like closing it out and whatnot. I was like, do you want them to sound like NSYNC? Do you want them to sound like Justin Bieber? No, you don't. You want them to sound like this because, unfortunately for folks like myself, rock and roll is not what it used to be, and rock and roll is not great at the moment or anymore. But when you hear, it gives me hope when you hear young guys like this who are so talented, still in their probably mid-20s.
Probably, yeah.
Good for them. And who gives a shit? I'm sorry. Who cares if they sound like Led Zeppelin? Because that's one of the greatest rock bands, arguably, of all time, if not the greatest of all time. But interestingly enough, even Robert Plant in an interview said that he can hear himself and the influence. But I believe it was the lead singer who said he wasn't that influenced by Led Zeppelin. It was more Aerosmith and Steve Perry.
I could see that too.
I'm sorry, Steven Tyler.
It's a good mixture of all that stuff. And for people that know me and for you that watch this show and we've talked about some music, that this is typically not what I would listen to. Correct. So, for me, I would say that if I'm telling you that this album is good, you should really listen to it because this is not something I would pick to listen to just because it is that older rock sound. The lead singer, I thought was a female lead singer when I first heard it.
Did you really?
I did. Because then also the name was like Greta Van Fleet. I was like, oh, it must be the lead singer's name. Well, then I found out it's just these dudes from Michigan, and I think 2 or 3 of them are brothers, maybe.
Yeah, I think they're brothers and maybe a cousin.
I think so. So I was at Brandon's house one time. He might have got some bourbon on the carpet rug.
Lynn will take care of it.
I was at Brandon's one time. We were putting up a wall in his man cave, and he had music playing, and a song come on, and I don't know at the time what it was. Do you remember by chance?
As a matter of fact, I do, and it was When the Curtain Falls off
Yes,
the last
it
album.
was. So I heard it. It started playing, and I even stopped. I was like, "What is this?" He's like, "Oh, you don't know this is Greta Van Fleet?" No. And I was like, but how old is it? Because Brandon has a lot of old vinyl and rock stuff. I was like, "How old is this?" He was like, "I mean, that album came out like a year ago." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
It is very reminiscent, and just so on this album, this new album, I was talking to Brandon earlier, and I told him it's basically like a movie for your ears. It's like it just starts and it just builds and builds, and just it's like when I listen to it. So I listened to it today in my office, had it kind of in the background, and I would just stop and was listening. It's just like I could see like movie scenes. Like I feel like somebody should take this album and just make it be like a long music video that's a movie. It is just so good.
So what I'm hearing is that Greta Von Fleet gives you an orgasm.
I think that might be correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Hashtag orgasm. So I listened to the album today. When you guys are listening to this, the album came out what, Friday today?
I think Friday.
Okay, so you're going to hear this a few weeks from now because we do not release we release these in chronological order. However, the point of this being is I listened to it today. By the time you listen to it more, I didn't find like a favorite song that I had today. I just let it play, but I liked the album, and I can see what you're saying about it being like to a movie soundtrack. This is a little bit different, I think, than their other two albums.
Yeah, this one's a little more melodic and low key. I mean, it's still rocky, but this one to me is more melodic. That's the only word I could think of.
And I think you're right. And when I was listening to this, because you can hear like maybe like more instruments being involved. I don't know if it was piano or organs or this and that. I don't say it's theatrical because that's not right. But I know why someone like you, Kevin, would like this, because like your favorite Guns N' Roses song of all time is November Rain.
True.
So not that this is like that, but it kind of goes more over there in that ballpark of what the album is.
I definitely love when you start incorporating more of like an orchestra type feel to these songs, because to me it makes them be just so much bigger. They're just bigger, you know. So Broken Bells would be my favorite one on here probably. And I've only listened to the whole album through like twice. But Broken Bells today. But Broken Bells was kind of an early release, and I sent it to Brandon several weeks ago. But it reminds me of like, do you remember like Rain on Me, like that song?
I don't
even remember who it was. Rain I feel so embarrassed, but it's like Rain on Me, the old song.
Yeah.
This Broken Bells has that same feel to me. It's just like such a emotional feel to it. It's like a big orchestra. It's
I'm trying to look it up.
I think the song might be truly called Rain Over Me.
Rain Over Me. Okay.
And there's a couple versions of it, but the original, I mean, people are gonna hate me when this comes, because the original is huge. That's it.
Is it
by The Who?
By The Who?
Yeah.
Love Rain Over Me.
Yeah. So it's by The Who. There's also a cover of it by like Rod Stewart or somebody that's oddly enough really, really good.
Really?
I'm serious.
And by the way, while we're talking, let's sip some Larceny.
Okay, so we're drinking Larceny real fast.
Got it right here.
We're going to go through, it's a small batch, 92 proof, 40% alcohol by volume. So we're at 92 proof.
John E. Fitzgerald.
Larceny is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
And not to interrupt you, to keep going. So
here we go with Larceny. Oh, that one's. I don't know that I love that one.
Well, I don't know. Larceny, doesn't mean make you steal something.
Stole my breath away. It's a little
strong.
Yeah, it is a little strong.
But I'll tell you what.
The nose of it's got a little something warm in it.
I've been told if I drink a bottle of this, I won't remember.
But he don't remember who told him that.
Rumor has it. I've had this before. It's strong. It's pretty good. This is 92 proof. Everybody knows that my wheelhouse is right in that 80 proof because my levels haven't dropped yet. And so, but that's what I like. This is good though, but I guarantee you like this with some Coke.
Ooh, I love some bourbon and Coke.
You should go get some bourbon. We'll put some ice. You know what?
Should we make this be a bourbon and Coke while we talk? Or should we finish this one up?
Yep.
Then we record another one.
That's a bad idea.
With the Larceny and Coke, and we discuss something else. I don't know what.
Or we can just keep talking about good music while we have the Larceny and Coke.
We could.
Yeah. What do you think?
Can you keep the listeners busy real quick?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right, go ahead. I'll be right here. So for those of you, most of you have probably heard Greta Van Fleet, but it's really cool that these guys are young, like I said earlier, and they're talented, and they play their own instruments, and they don't use the thing today, what is it called, auto tunes or whatever. So, everybody sitting here with a MacBook now can be an artist and have millions of TikTok followers and Instagram followers, but it doesn't really mean you're an artist. So the really cool thing for me that when I did a little bit of research when their first album came out, was I was like, wait a minute. Obviously, I like the sound of the music, the tone of the music, his voice, very Robert Plantish. And I could hear a lot of those 70s and 80s, or early 80s, depending on the band, but those licks in the guitar, which I really like, which resonate with me. That's like what I like. And so it was refreshing to hear something like that today, coming from some young folks. So it gives me a hope for music moving forward in this type of, day and age where anybody's a pop star. Everyone's an influencer. But give these guys props. They're doing something that other young kids like them aren't doing, and they're crushing it. They're killing it. And hopefully, whenever COVID and the pandemic comes back around, or doesn't come back around, but when it's over, when we get back to going to venues and concerts and whatnot, hopefully these guys are going to come around here in the North Carolina area, because I for sure will like to spend my money to go see them and appreciate what they're doing. Are you looking for Larceny?
I probably have enough Larceny in my cup, actually. Yeah, mine's mixed up actually pretty well.
Okay, fair enough.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
So
let me ask you, Kevin, what is it? So obviously, folks who listen here know that I'm more of a rock guy. You're more of a rap guy. What is it about like the Greta Van Fleet, which is nothing like rap, that you like about them, or what attracts you to them? So
when I first heard them, I did not like the lead singer's voice. I don't even know if it's called a falsetto in rock or not, but it would be like a high pitched, but it's a rock voice. I mean, his voice is great.
Yeah.
But I didn't love it.
Okay.
I finally got past that part of it and started just hearing like the lyrics and the music, and it's just it's well written. The musicianship is great. They're all phenomenal musicians, but this album, it's just almost like theatrical, and it's just big, and it's just, I don't know, there's just something, it's that feeling. This album gave me the feeling that I don't get very often. It's just hard to describe.
So let me ask you this. Do you feel like now that they're comfortable, maybe more seasoned, that this is a more, they've expanded their musical boundaries? And they're growing as a band and as musicians. And it'd be interesting because and again, this is kind of an impromptu thing. I just listened to the album once and didn't really pay a ton of attention to it today while I was at home working. But it'd be interesting to see who produced this record.
That is a good question.
Wouldn't you like to see them with Rick Ross?
Rick Rubin.
Him too.
but then with Rick Ross could be interesting.
It might be.
Like they come out with all the guitars. He's like, Maybach music? Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Nah.
With Rick Rubin would be
Rick
awesome.
Rubin.
And I was actually thinking about Rick Rubin when you said that about producing it. That would be pretty good. And, if they could even go back to like the Phil Spector, like Wall of Sound days, and like, they could do some really cool stuff.
Now, is that Phil Spector pre or post murder?
Pre-murder.
Okay. All right. Now that makes sense.
But I think his Wall of Sound I don't know. Did anybody take that and run with it? I don't know.
I don't know, but you know what I would like to see? I think it would be really cool, and I don't know if they've done this, and if they have, you guys can totally correct me. But yeah, I think it'd be really cool to see like on an award ceremony, maybe like the Grammys or something like that, where Greta Von Fleet is playing, and then maybe Jimmy Page and Robert Plant come out and they do a song, and it's almost like a passing of the torch, but not, because that's a torch that may not can ever be passed.
That would be cool.
But it would be really cool to hear that, or maybe even Aerosmith comes out and plays with them or whatnot. But so if anybody wants that, let me know, and I'll try to do what I can to make it happen. If it does happen, just know you heard it here first.
We do know someone in the music business.
We do, but I don't know if they'll say listen to him because his friends said do it.
So when you said that, I was thinking about something. Oh, when you said the Aerosmith thing, I've not thought about that, but it does have early Aerosmith sound to it too.
Yeah. In the voice.
The voice.
Yes. For me, the guy's very Robert Plantish. So I can I hear. Yeah. I can. To me, they're very Led Zeppelin. If you want to dig into the early '80s, even into the '70s of Aerosmith, Joe Perry's a huge influence on anybody who plays guitar. Doesn't matter. You know him, you like him. So, okay, fine, sure. But if you had to put them in a category of who do they sound like, 99% of people are going to probably say Led Zeppelin, which is great.
So I'm going to say two things right now. Number one is going to probably not surprise you, but it's going to bother you and our listeners. I don't know a lot of Led Zeppelin music.
I just don't. Okay, I tell you what. Let's do a test. Name 3 Led Zeppelin songs.
I probably can't.
The one is the most famous, arguably the greatest rock song of all time.
See, I get embarrassed. I don't want to say anything because it might be wrong.
No, please.
Are they Stairway to Heaven?
They are Stairway to Heaven.
Boom.
Okay.
You cannot play that song in any guitar store. It is a fact. If you pick up a guitar in a guitar store and start playing it, somebody will slap your face.
Well, they should. I'll make it easier for you. Just name 2. Stairway to Heaven, the one you took, the number 1.
It's just one of those things. Like if you were to say something, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I knew that." But right off the top of my head, I don't know.
Just say anything.
Come back to me.
Come on. There's a ton to choose from.
I don't.
There's an entire archive.
We're on the spot. We're live.
Well, either this is where you become a champion or not. You got to rise to the occasion. You can ask me something about something.
One of them, like the cover is like a horse or something, like with wings on it or something.
What does that have to do with the song?
I'm picturing the album.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm scrolling through the songs in my mind.
So on terrestrial radio, if you go 7 seconds without any words or noise, they start playing the best of. Well, for us, we don't have a best of. But
what's your favorite Led Zeppelin song? I'll tell you if I know it.
I'm a huge fan of Over the Hills and Far Away. I like that one. Kashmir is obviously very good.
I do know Kashmir, but don't know it that well.
A lot of people love Whole Lot of Love, but
Kashmir has one of those like monumental guitar riffs, right? Isn't that one?
Yeah, it's great. Honestly, it became popular 20 years ago when P. Diddy redid it with them.
Oh, I forgot about that. How did I not name that?
Right. Ramble On is also very good.
P. Diddy had him when he was. Yeah.
Yes.
But to be fair, everything you've named so far, I have no idea what they sound like.
Achilles' Last Stand is great. No Quarter's fantastic.
Nope. Don't know any of those.
And
should we have a Led Zeppelin night?
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Yes.
Sounds like it.
What we should do is we should do like a reaction, and we should play a song for Kevin that he hears for the first time of Led Zeppelin. Well, we think it's the first time, and let him react to it. And maybe we'll do some of those for myself and other. Maybe we can start. We got to figure out how to play the music.
We're going to figure that out. We're going to hit up No Life Shack, and we're going to talk to him about it.
He is great.
The second thing I was going to tell you, that was my number 1 that I was going to tell you, I don't know Led Zeppelin. Like if you play stuff, I'm like, yeah, I've heard this, but I don't know it. Like I don't dive into that stuff. Anywho, I had a discussion on social media with Sonny Ledford not too long ago.
What?
And he said he's bothered by Greta Van Fleet
Why?
that people are comparing them to like Led Zeppelin and all. He thinks that it's just not a fair shake for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that it's because he don't want them to get lumped into a category. I think he feels like they're not on a level that they should be compared. So what would be your take on that?
I think that it would be hard to deny that obviously they've been influenced. They may not admit it or whatnot, but it's just too similar of a sound. I can understand where he's coming from, but I would want people who are 50 to 60 years old who grew up with Led Zeppelin, maybe a little older.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're open-minded enough to hear that because that is a familiar tone and sound that they can hear and they can get behind.
Mm-hmm.
I think it may be more difficult to break into younger crowds because they just haven't been influenced to that enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see where it could be a pro and a con. But the other hand to that is you could look at Greta Van Fleet as to be a conduit between today and the past and merge the two to hear all this great music because that type of music, dude, is not going to die.
No.
It's never going to go away.
And I think it's hard to reciprocate and I don't want to say reinvent because you're not inventing it, but that type of music, like you have to be a pretty special band to even get close to that sound.
Yeah.
Because like I think about like for instance like when you talk about bands of today,
mm-hmm.
like I mean you can name like your biggest arena style bands that are like more modern. Like I mean just pick one.
Well, I mean Metallica does huge arena tours.
I'm talking
Coldplay.
More modern. Okay, Coldplay. Like so your Coldplay's your what's the
I wouldn't walk off
After You Were Somebody, that band, what's their name?
One Republic. No, who is that?
What's their name? They're so big.
God, Kings of Leon?
Kings of Leon, yeah.
Do they even play anymore?
Oh, I'm sure
you're so like 2010.
But like my point is like you take those bands
mm-hmm.
that were huge mainstream music, filled arenas, like they would be like your modern arena rock band. They're nothing like any of those other bands. Like not even close
right
to those bands. I think it's hard to even that music's never gonna die, but it's always gonna be that music. It's not going to be like a new band that's going to take their place.
But and that's fine because in my mind it's like why the wheel's been invented. Why reinvent it? Okay, like you on a t-shirt company. Did you start t-shirts? Did you start printing? No. So why reinvent the wheel? I'm not the first junk company ever come across the country or the world or whatnot. You see something good, you like it, you listen to it. Like if I was to create my own rock and roll band.
Mm-hmm.
I would play a style of music as a guitarist, which I am not. However, if I was, I would play something in the genre or very similar. You'd hear a lot of Slash influence in how I play because he is my favorite guitarist. So if you and I or family, friends, or first cousins create a band, obviously we have this music that's influenced and molded our creative ability and what we like. So that's what we play. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And again, I think you can introduce younger kids. It also, you know what it could do? It could bridge a relationship between a young kid and their father, uncle, grandpa, or whatnot. Who goes, hey, listen to this. And they'll go, holy crap. You know what? That sounds when I was your age, I listened to this. And then now it's this whole camaraderie conversation. It's a bond. This and that. I may have went a little too deep with that, but you get what I'm saying.
I do. And if we ever do start that band, I want to play guitar. Will there be room in the band for a guitarist?
I think as we grow as a band and
once we expand,
our musical boundaries.
All right, I'll start out on drums and then I want to move to guitar.
Just know that I'm going to play lead. It's not going to be good. And you guys can totally Milli Vanilli my parts. I just need to have a leg up on the monitor.
You've always wanted that monitor.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. I gotta look something up. I saw something. I'll tell you later.
Was it Me with a Monitor?
No, but no, it's a T-shirt that I'm gonna see if I can find for you.
Okay.
So I don't know what we were talking about. Larceny Bourbon, Greta Van Fleet. So yeah, we were talking about bridging the gap. That's the point I want to make. I think we're at a point in music and generations where every genre needs that. So for me, like in country music right now, Chris Stapleton is that guy.
Yep.
He's the guy that has the old sound. He pays homage to the old artist. He's getting people to listen. You know, I mean, Tennessee Whiskey was his huge hit and everybody loves it. Well, now people are like, oh, that's a George Jones song. Oh, it's been covered by this person. It's been covered by like 10 people. So people are starting to find this old stuff. So every genre needs it. I think Greta Van Fleet's probably exactly what you're saying. They're going to be I would go listen to some of that stuff now because of how much I like this album. But I would need you to be like, okay, you don't know a lot of Led Zeppelin. Here's some songs that sound like the reason that you're wanting to listen to it and play. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how you ease people into stuff.
So I think what I'll do is I'm going to send you like, I don't overwhelm you, maybe half a dozen Led Zeppelin songs that you don't know. That's not going to go, oh, I know that.
Yeah.
You know,
and I'll recognize some. Obviously.
Some of them you may, but maybe we'll go some off the little beaten path that you're really going to get into. And if you knew some of the stories, and I want to say, is it All of My Love?
All of My Love.
That is written about their son who passed away.
Really?
He died as a very young child. And I can't remember if he drowned, but he wrote that song to him.
I do know that song. See, but I didn't, when you said the song name, I didn't think about it. So 311 does a nice cover of that song, by the way.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But I did not know that about and that's the stuff that makes me like
but
music.
I can't remember how he passed. But yeah, he was young. There's a great Led Zeppelin documentary that I've watched. It's several hours long. I don't remember the name of it. Don't really find it, but just search.
Google.
It's
Led Zepp doc.
Do you remember back in the old days when the internet was first around? Joe Reynolds taught me this trick. If you're having trouble finding stuff, you do Led plus Zeppelin plus doc.
You put the
plus signs.
Which Led Zeppelin song was in the Godzilla movie? Is that
I think that's Kashmir. Yeah.
The dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun,
yes.
Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
Do you remember how good the Rage Against the Machine song was that was on that soundtrack?
Oh, now you're digging deep.
I think it was No Shelter was the one on there. Maybe.
I'm going to have to look it up.
Because you talked about your favorite guitarist. Obviously, I'm a Slash fan, but, you know, I'm a big Tom Morello fan.
Yeah, no, I like Tom Morello.
Because he's like your non-traditional guitarist and made it do things that other people didn't know it could do. I mean, he was scratching records with his guitar, basically.
Let's see, Godzilla. Here we go.
Is it called No Shelter? Yep, No Shelter. I mean, I can't believe I pulled that out of my hat.
Damn, that was very good.
That was good.
Yeah, Tom Morello is a great guitarist, one of my favorites. And what he did with the guitar, I've actually never heard anybody else replicate. I'm sure they can do it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he has coined himself what he's doing there as unbelievable. What I love, too, is when people first hear it, they actually think it's a DJ and a scratch table.
Yep.
They have no idea this guy's doing that with his guitar and the feedback from the speaker. It's crazy.
And yeah, reverb, all kinds of stuff. He does a bunch of crazy stuff. So, Larceny Bourbon, would you walk across the street for it?
Yeah, I'd walk across the street for it.
I would walk across the street for it as a mixer.
As a mixer?
I'm probably never going to drink this straight, ever, on the rocks or anything. It will be a bourbon and Coke for me.
I'll tell you this. Apparently, I've walked to Bose for it. So, I guess I'd have to. That's right. Simpson Strong Tie.
You did walk across the street to
Greta Van Fleet. By the way, Kevin, I think what you should do is, engulf yourself with this one album. And then I think you should go back to album number one and then come back around.
Because there was a couple on that last album that I liked, but I think what got me today was I just put it on and I just hit play and I let it go. And I mean, it just kept like building and building. And that's another lost art these days. People don't hear albums from start to finish, and albums are recorded to tell a story. They pick the songs in the order they pick them because it's an album. Now everybody hears singles, or they pick it and say, I'm not going to say ALEXA because it'll come on, but they'll be like shuffle, or they'll be on their iTunes hit shuffle. Albums are made to listen to from start to finish. It's really hard to find an album these days you can truly do that with.
But don't you feel like songs tell a story?
I do, definitely. Yeah.
So this is where, and we'll cut this off, but this is where I used to get so annoyed. And I try not to be too much of a literal person, but that's who I am to my core. And I feel like maybe if I could come back and have like 10 different lives, one life would be a music video director, because I feel like there's so many great songs out there that tell a story, and I'm following the story. But then when I watch the video, I think, what in the world are you guys even talking about? Now you've tried to be like so arbitrary and just out there. Like, it's more about how nutty, like non-related the video is to the song.
Yeah.
Imagine Chris Stapleton's Fire Away being
Don't you talk about that video. I'll cry in front of everybody.
Hey, as a matter of fact, that video should have won an Oscar.
It definitely
I don't even know if they have that. But Ben Foster, great, like what he does. But imagine if like they filmed it in spacesuits and like on Mars or something dumb
and robots and stuff.
Yeah, and it was like with Roman candles. I mean, I don't even know, but it's like, but that's how music videos,
you're right,
to me,
no, you're right,
should be. You listen to the song and then you put the song in what.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I don't know.
No, I agree. But that's another. I just feel so old sometimes when I talk about this. Our kids and grandkids will never know what it's like to see a music video and it be the first time you've ever heard the song as well.
That's
you know what
true.
I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I can remember when I was younger, we got a satellite dish. It was the big satellite that was the, like you had to switch, your satellites and whatever.
Right.
It was called the Music Box, I think is what it was called.
It was right beside the Spice Channel.
I think it's called Music Box. And of course MTV was around too. But I mean, I can remember just sitting and like, at this point, I would wake up and watch music videos because it was new music. It was the videos.
Yes.
I can remember having VCRs back then and taping like the Arsenio Hall show because like Vanilla Ice was performing or Earth, Wind, and Fire. I mean, so many. I can name a million. But kids don't know what that's like anymore.
Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And, here's what, in my opinion, here's what's going to happen. MTV is going to do another full 180, and music is going to do a full 180. And it may not be on MTV. It could be on YouTube, or it could be on something else. But there's going to be, people want it. People need it. And there's going to be where music videos come back. And that's how they're going to grasp people, is they're going to release the music video first, and you're not going to be able to download that album or that single for like another week.
You gotta,
and they're going to get
it on video,
millions and millions, millions of views, and they're going to build up.
I hope so.
I do too. And
I miss
music videos.
I go on YouTube all the time and watch videos and stuff. And most of the time it's live performances now.
Well,
but yeah, they're missing that.
For those of you who are metal fans, there is something that's out there again. Ricky Rackman, who used to host Headbangers Ball, actually lives here kind of locally in Mooresville. And he can't do Headbangers Ball anymore, but there is an app called Gimme Metal, and he hosts the ball. And they do music videos and stuff like that. So shout out to Ricky Rackman doing what you're doing.
And Cat House.
Hollywood Cat House podcast and the Triple R. Eventually, you're going to stop ignoring my emails and text messages and Instagram messages, and you'll come on the Appetite Show.
You better hurry up.
Spots are filling up.
At some point, won't even ask you.
Not true. But at any rate, but for those of you metal fans, there is a way for you guys to get back into that. But that makes me think that
it's coming back.
Well, eventually, because all good things come back. And the music video is a lost art form, but I hear it's still out there, like on Vivo. You ever heard of that?
Oh yeah. I watch Vivo.
Do you really?
People still make music videos. You just have to go actually search them.
But see, there needs to be
music television, also known as MTV, does not play music at all. Although I do have MTV Classic.
Yeah.
And in the mornings when like we're getting ready for work, we have old videos playing.
Really?
Yep. All right, Larceny.
Okay. Yep. We've rambled on enough. So everybody, listen to
Larceny,
music,
good
drink bourbon.
Bourbon Coke. Greta Van Fleet, check it out. It's called Battle at Gardens Gate. Yeah, the Battle at Gardens Gate. It's amazing. I'm going to go learn about Led Zeppelin. We'll have a session where we'll discuss Led Zepp. And listen, like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on all podcast platforms, YouTube. We might make a music video at some point with our new family band we're starting.
Don't rule it out.
I think that's it.
That's it.
All right. So thank y'all for listening. Please like, share, comment, love each other. See y'all later.
Bye.